The Danessa podcast. Conversations from the couch.
Don't cry cause it ain't gon' rain every day. Don't despair cause it ain't your way. Keep it real, make the best out of any situation that you come across. Some lose, some lost, I'm shaking off and get back to what I'm really about. Skip the crowd, something to feel. Tell me why you screaming and shout.
Welcome back to the JoNessa podcast.
Conversations from the couch.
We are back. We took Memorial Day. Wasn't Memorial Day because I always get Memorial Day.
It was. You're
Memorial
right.
Day.
It was Memorial Day weekend. Yes.
I always get Memorial Day and
Labor
Day mixed up.
Yeah, but you were right.
Yes.
Memorial Day.
So nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
We're hardworking people.
We're hardworking people, y'all.
You're a hardworking woman.
You're a hardworking man.
Oh, you're so sweet. But we are back. Hope everyone is doing well.
We missed y'all.
We missed you all. Couch cousins, thank y'all for the support. Listen.
What you got for him?
I sound like a repeating record all the time.
Repeating record or broken record? Which one?
A broken record. I say the same things often, but I've said this several times. How we were mainly, but still are mainly an audio streaming platform.
Yes.
But this season, we said we were going to be intentional about focusing on the video portion of things, and we've been doing that. And Couch Cousins, supporters, you all have been responding. It's been paying off. Thank you for the support.
Yeah,
it really means a lot.
All of your hard work. Remember, there was I think it was 2 episodes ago, you were hoping that the footage would be able to upload from one of our episodes, and it finally did. And y'all, that episode instantly had so many views and normal. And then ever since, it's weird. It's weird how things worked out, because ever since that one uploaded, after that, we had a consistent higher number of views. So thank you to our couch cousins on YouTube that are showing us love, and all of your hard work that you're putting in to make sure that we have that visual on YouTube. Thank you too, Joe.
Oh, thank you all. Thank you for the support that you always give me. I cannot do it without you.
You got it.
Thank you all for the support that you give my wife and I.
Yes.
We appreciate it so much. We love doing this. And you guys give us the energy to keep this going. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
We appreciate it.
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
Yes. So one of the cool things about being in control of your own platform, you can just kind of go back and decide what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
And we pick our topics. And sometimes people may say things and go back and wish they would have said things a little bit differently.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying that's the case for us, but I thought for tonight's episode, we're in season 3. I thought it would be fun to kind of go back and look at the 4 episodes we've done so far.
Okay.
4 or 3?
My mercy.
Okay. Okay, we've done 5. Oh, wow. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We've done 5 episodes already this season, baby. This season is flying by. So we're just gonna we're just gonna go through each episode briefly and kind of talk about it to see, have we grown or has our position changed
since
recording that episode?
Okay, that's fair.
I think a lot of people who, especially if you have your own platform, you're out in the mainstream public, I don't even know, if you're a celebrity, how do you even manage looking at one of your old movies or interviews?
Yeah, honestly, you probably do it to see the growth, because I think growth is important to reflect back and see, but also at the same time you kind of cringe, ooh, did I really do that? Was I really saying that?
Yes.
So it's beneficial in both ways.
Yes. So Couch Cousins, you will be in for a treat, because you will be able to tell and be like, hey, he or she didn't say that when they discussed it. So it's interesting how they've changed since then. But we're going to do it just a little. It's like a little pillow talk.
A little pillow talk, yeah.
So we started off season 1 with the modern day relationship. Is 2 still better than 1?
Yes.
We did a lot of deep diving and discussed a lot. during that episode. Looking back on it, do you feel confident, or are you still okay with the points that you discussed during the episode, or has your thinking changed any in regards to the modern day relationship? Is 2 still better than 1?
Okay, and if you recall, I was like saying that it's okay if you are in that single state. Do you remember when I was saying that?
Yes.
And so I am going to still hold true to, I think that whatever state that you're in, if you were being in that single state, I think that that's great. And if you are in a state where you are married and you have your significant other, I think that that's a great state to be in. So I'm still going to stick to whatever current state that you're in is fine. I'm not going to say that 2 is better than 1. I'm going to stick with what I said. I said what I said.
Now we got to go back. We may have to go back and rewind the tape for real, because I thought you said that 2 is always.
But ultimately, but I do remember saying like wherever you are.
Yes, I agree with that.
But I do feel like, ultimately, yes, I feel much better being in a relationship, a monogamous relationship with you for these last, in a marriage, almost 10 years, and then in just a relationship, 12 years.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, so what's your stance, Joe?
I'm confident on the points that I brought up during that episode. I strongly believe that 2 will always be better than 1. Of course, you're always going to just rely on your own personal experience and what you've gone through when discussing topics like this. And it's crazy because when we were talking to, I think you were helping out. I was talking to Nikki and Q. And
the birthday party?
We were just talking about different things, and she asked me a question, and I was being facetious and saying this tongue in cheek, but I was also being serious. I'm like, I don't know, like, you gotta ask Danessa that. Like, I got married because I didn't want to, if I wanted to be in charge or have to figure everything out, I would have stayed single, but.
So definitely, in your case, 2 is better.
2 is still better than 1. I think that, like you said, it's nothing wrong with being in a single state, and it's something that you have to be prepared and ready for. And what I'm seeing a lot in today's society, and when I'm just making my observations, whether it's in real life or whether it's on social media, I think a lot of people knock relationships and knock being in a serious committed relationship with someone is because of they've been hurt in the past,
right? Or
B, they are insecure with being accepted. That fear of rejection, that fear of, will this person accept me for who I am? And that can be cause someone to be very apprehensive and hesitant towards getting into a relationship. But more so just that initial pain. We talked about our relationship and where we were prior to meeting each other. And I could have easily taken all of the negatives from my prior relationships and just pushed it away and not given that opportunity. But I healed from those previous relationships. I learned from them, and I went into the relationship with you without any baggage.
Right.
I think that's so important to make sure that you are completely healed and that you know who you are and are grounded before getting into a relationship and giving that person a fair shot.
Right. I agree with that.
I think everybody wants to be in a relationship.
This blanket statement, my dear. This blanket statement. I do feel like people want to be wanted. And I don't necessarily know if that always looks like a relationship, but I know that most of us, in general terms, people want to be wanted. Can I bring up a point that I did not bring up?
Yeah.
When we were talking about 2 being better than 1. So something occurred like 2-3 weeks ago, and so in our profession, the profession that I'm in, when you're just starting out, like the money factor, you just don't make a lot. And so I think we didn't have an opportunity to talk about 2 being better than 1, and so we got married fairly young. Like I was in my early 20s, you were in your mid 20s when we got married. And so in that state, although when we first got married, you didn't have a job, eventually you got one, and so we had 2 incomes. And although that they were were very small incomes. In that fact, I'm going to have to say that 2 was definitely better than 1, because I was talking to this young professional, and she was just saying that, like, I don't know how I can make it off of this salary that I'm making. And I was reflecting back to when I was her age, and I thought, ooh, I was married. So I don't know what it feels like to be a young professional just starting out on this young professional salary. I was like, oh, I don't know what that feels like. So thinking about it in that aspect, for us, 2 is definitely better than 1 financially. So I think that is something that I can bring to the table that we did not discuss in our episode, or an original episode.
Very true. Yeah. And that's a good point. Because to be completely transparent, and I've probably said this on previous episodes, I didn't have a job. When we got married. They shut down. I got laid off on September the 1st. They dissolved the program I was in when I worked in the women's correctional facility in their addictions treatment unit. And that my last day of work was August the 31st. And I walked down the aisle a little over 2 weeks later.
September 15th, we walked down the aisle.
Yes.
Yeah.
No job.
And you didn't start working again until, was it October?
Yes.
It was after your mom's last treatment.
Yes.
And so then you started going back to work. So like the latter part of October, early part of November, that's when you got a job. So I mean, that was a lot of, and that was a meager salary that
very meager. Very meager. And think about how much, and although you're not that woman, and I think even if we were dating in 2022, just think about how much the narrative has changed, where now you hear a lot of women like, if he's not making 6 figures, then he can't even approach me. And you took a chance on someone who, heck, no figures.
But the thing is, you had a job. That's the thing. Like when we got engaged, like you had a job, you had started your profession, you started your career. Like you were trying, we were both trying. And so when you did not have a job, I was just like, okay, well, I know he's going to get another job. Like this is something, he can't help that this happened. He can't help that the program that he was in and working under closed down. So it was just like, we were going to make it. Like I wanted to be married. And honestly, to be completely transparent, I think this is good that we're reflecting back on our past episodes. Remember, one of the reasons I was like, we just need to go ahead and get married is because like, remember I was out, like I had a roommate, I was paying like my own insurance. Like remember, I was like all out on my own, and it was hard. And I was like, well, if we get married, it might be a little bit easier because we can put our 2 incomes together. So shoot, in that case, I'm going to keep it 100. The financial aspects back then, starting out, 2 was definitely better than 1. Yes. 100%. Yes. Especially like, and no, not like however you have to live. Like I was doing everything on my own. I needed some help. So 2 was better than 1.
Very true. So the second episode, which I'm glad we're revisiting this, and because I think I left some stuff on the table with this episode, and which the title of that one is Why You Will Always Be Single and the Importance of Self-Love. Very good episode. And I think what I wanted to really touch on when it comes to self-love, and I know we started off the conversation with codependency and making sure you have your own identity, but what I really want to touch on was, if you can't add anything to a relationship or make a relationship reach its full potential if you do not know who you are. Like it's not selfish making sure that you are, like I said earlier, that you are healed from you have healed from previous traumas. You know who you are, and you are just aware of what you are trying to do in life and what you're trying to accomplish. And I was listening to this podcast, and I remember I brought this up to you about there were arguments. The man was saying that all men want a woman to be able to go along with their vision. Remember that? Their plan. And if the woman doesn't go along with their plan, then ultimately he's not going to choose that woman. And remember, I was saying, like,
you don't see it that way.
I don't see it that way. And how it should be, and the reason why we work is, ideally, you want someone who has the similar or the same goals or the same vision as you do. And so when you're talking about self-love, you need to have a vision for how you want your life to go.
Yeah.
And know who you are, know how you want your life to go. And then once you're securing that, you will find a partner who has the same vision as you do, or very similar, and then you work together, and you're both going to be building each other and helping each other grow. Yeah. So that's one thing I really wanted to convey in that episode that I don't think I was really touched on as much as I wanted to.
And I would think I would need to add from that episode, just in your singleness, really understanding and appreciating the value that you have within yourself. Okay? Because if you don't understand and appreciate your own value, you will allow your partner or another person to tell you what your value or what your worth is. So it's really important to get a great understanding of that prior to being in a relationship with someone, and knowing yourself. And it's okay to find out your value even more as you're with another person, but you need to have a basic concept of that in your singleness before you get married or into a serious relationship with another person. And also in your singleness, and having a mindset of knowing yourself as a person, when you are in a relationship and someone else is like, they might be dogging you out, or they might be treating you in a way that you don't want to be treated, you then need to figure out how can you communicate with that person and let them know, like, I don't want to be treated this way, this is not what I'm going to accept, so that you can have a good relationship. And then I like the part, I wanted to also touch on like that partnership piece, because I know you have to be single, like we were talking about, like in your singleness, but then when you get into a partnership, Joe, and at first when you were talking, I remember like I was like, we were on opposite sides of the bed, and I remember you telling me that. I was like, I just don't get it, I don't know. But also when you look at it as a partnership, when you go into a partnership in business with another person, you both have an invested interest.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
You both are trying to reach a common goal. So when you think about a partnership in a relationship, you're going to have a common interest.
Yes.
So I do agree with you, when it's just one person having a goal for the entire family, it can't work that way. It has to be a common interest that you have together in order for you to be able to bring that goal to fruition.
Yes.
So I do, now that we're on the other side of that episode, I genuinely do understand now what you were trying to say. Because my mentality, if I'm completely honest, like growing up, it was like the man is in charge, the man is right, you follow what the man is saying. And even in like, type of like the religious aspects of it, but to a certain degree, like you do have to be on the same page and have a common goal together in a partnership.
Yeah,
so I
very
get
true.
That.
Yeah, I love the business analogy that you brought up, because think about it in business. If you work for a company, or even if you don't work for a company, I think even schools, like you have your mission statement. What is their mission statement? And if every employee, that mission statement, and everything else falls into that mission statement. So like we have, like, even though not verbatim word for word, but we have like a mutual mission statement that we're trying to accomplish, and that's why we work so well together. I mean, there's nothing wrong with approaching it, not completely approaching it as a business, but it is a business. It's a business.
A business. Remember when, and not the sidebar, but even the business part, you were telling me that a big actor is in a business with his ex-wife.
Yes.
His ex-wife. And so if you think about that, I think we were saying like, okay, well, maybe they just know how they can work together in the business aspect. Maybe they're romantically, they cannot function, but as business partners, they can. And so I think that's another way, like, yes, they were in a marriage, it didn't work, but they're still in a business together. So sometimes you do have to look at a relationship, a partnership as like an investment.
Yes.
It's a business. And if you don't invest or pour into your business, then it's not going to grow. And so that's what you have to do in a relationship. You have to invest in what you have.
Yes.
And sometimes in a business, think about like rebranding.
Yep.
Sometimes in a business, you have to think, okay, this was working for these last 10 years, but it's not working anymore. So what is our new logo going to look like?
Yeah.
What's going to be our audience now? And sometimes it's like that in your relationship. Okay, this is our branding for these next few years. Like, this is what we're doing now.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Another thing in that this episode, which I brought up the fact that I watched the Netflix series Without You, and one of the things that's really scary,
Okay.
and one of the reasons why I titled it "Why You Always Be Single" is because a spouse can all of a sudden just become a complete stranger.
Yep.
And that's scary.
Yeah.
When you think that you know someone and they do something that's completely out of character,
Yeah.
and violates your core beliefs or your values, and all of a sudden that history that you all had together, whether it's 10, 20, 30 years, it's just completely erased. And think about the family ties that you develop and built, the mutual friends that you share. That is so terrifying and scary to think about.
Yeah.
But it can happen.
It can. And so to that point, it's like, how do you find yourself?
Yeah.
How do you heal? How do you go on? How do you function?
How do you function?
How do you come together? Because there's going to be times, like, especially if you have like children involved in that, and that happens with a spouse, like they just turn into a completely different person. How do you still function when you have to be in the same place at the same time with your children and with other family members? Like, you still have to operate to know, okay, I'm going to have to be able to get through this. Like, I'm going to have to think of me just in my being a, not necessarily like single, but like single, like just one person by myself. Like, how am I going to function to get through this?
Yes.
What am I going to do?
Yes.
So
That's difficult.
it's difficult.
That's very difficult.
Yeah.
The most important non-negotiables in a relationship. Now listen, we're about to go in on this one because we're going to be honest. We keep it honest with our couch cousins. We didn't discuss a list of non-negotiables.
Yes, we did.
No, we did not. When we got married,
we did.
no,
Yes, we did.
Baby.
You're not being. Maybe you don't remember, but we did discuss non-negotiables. Like, we discussed things that were important to us, and maybe we didn't say these are non-negotiables, but we did. Like, I know for sure we discussed things that were important to us. Yes, we did. So I'm so, see,
we did premarital counseling.
This is the real deal. This is how y'all know y'all get some real stuff, because we going back and forth on something that I'm disagreeing with you. We did talk about things that were important to us. Like, for instance, like, you, for sure, you talked about how I was, once again, we being real, I was a non-cook when we started dating. I was a non-cook.
Yeah.
I was.
You were a non-cook.
Okay, I was a non-cook, and I remember you were like, you're gonna have to cook for me before we get married. I know for sure. And although you didn't say it was a non-negotiable, we didn't say that back 10 years ago, that was a non-negotiable, Joe. That was. Like we had things that we were going to have to do and keep up. Like, I'm sorry. We talked about it. Remember that day when I was pulling back, and it was something had happened with like church or God or something. And then I remember I was like, it's important to me.
I do remember that
I was crying in the car, carrying on. So
it was over the telephone, right?
No.
Yeah, it was over the telephone.
No, it was at your mama's house, because I remember backing out, pulling up, and you were standing at the window, at my car window. I remember these things. So I'm telling you, although we didn't say the word non-negotiable 9 years ago, we did have non-negotiable things that we talked about. I'm sorry, but go ahead. It's a genre. Go ahead.
Golly.
Yeah, we talked about that. We talked about things that were important.
Okay, we talked. Yeah, no, we definitely talked and discussed things that were important, but we didn't like lay out a definitive list of. Here are the list of expectations.
That's a better way to say it. We didn't lay out a definitive list, but we talked about things that were near and dear to our hearts. Yes, we did. We even talked about like how many children we wanted to have, if we wanted to have kids.
Yes, very
we
true.
talked about those things, and to me, those are non-negotiables.
Very true. Do you think that it may be too... I can't think of the right words to describe what I'm trying to say, but rigid, maybe, to have a list of non-negotiables, and because sometimes you may find yourself missing out on a great partner that may be willing to grow into the person that's going to meet everything on your list. I'm thinking about us as an example and how much we've grown over the years. And if like the Joseph that you know now, I'm sure like is not meeting some of the non-negotiables on that list.
Correct.
that 23-year-old Danessa, how old were you when you got married?
I was 23 when we got married.
Yeah, that 23-year-old Danessa may have had. Does that make sense of what I'm saying?
So I guess I'm going to say, I hope I answer your question. I think it's important to stick to your core values. Okay. I think it's important that some things you just don't waver on. And if this person is too far off from the core things that are important to you, then you should not waver. But like I remember there was a series like Pastor Mike Todd, he was talking about like different things, like it was called like Rip Up the List, and it was saying things of like having to make 6 figures, need to be tall, dark, and handsome. You're right, things like that, that's not a like those things you need to kind of like be able to disregard and be like, if a person doesn't look a certain way or have this much money, you need to be flexible with that. So I am going to say yes, like some non-negotiables are just dumb, and you need to be able to look past that when you're trying to be in a relationship with someone. And if that person has those core values that you can't waver, that's what your real true non-negotiables need to be. And to kind of follow up with that, during the episode, some of the non-negotiables that we did discuss were kind of shallow. Now, I do remember I remember listening to it like, ugh, that sounds kind of shallow. Like, you need to be a good dresser and da-da-da-da-da. I was like, Danessa, there's more important things than that.
No, you said presentation, though.
I did say presentation.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yes. However, there are much more important things than
there
that.
are.
So while I said, remember, we're doing reflection.
Okay.
So let me do my reflection. Okay. So while I reflected on that, while those things are important to Danessa, they are. It's really not a non-negotiable, because if you ever just fall off your presentation game, I am still going to be with you, and I'm still going to be okay. So I'm going to say, while that is something that you possess, and I think almost like some of the non-negotiables that I was able to talk about on that episode is because you possess them. So I could talk about them as a non-negotiable because you have them. And it doesn't necessarily, maybe it wasn't even a non-negotiable back then when we met 12 years ago, and now it is one because that's what you possess. I hope that makes sense.
That makes sense. No, that does make sense. And when it comes to just non-negotiables or things that you say that you will never accept, and it's crazy, when we were doing our premarital counseling, and I remember Pastor Dean, the pastor who did our premarital counseling, when he said, you think that you love your spouse now.
I remember he said that.
Like, just wait 10 to 20 years from now.
He said that.
And I'm telling you, I was just thinking about, like, I remember I always used to say this one thing. I was like, I'm not going for that. Like, if this ever happens to me, like, I'm done. Fast forward now, I'm working through it. I'm working through anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose you.
Yeah.
Like, I love you so much. We've built so much together that no matter what comes up, I'm fighting for my spouse.
We working through
like,
it.
We working through it.
We working through it.
Yes, because like our love has, because we know each other so well now. Our love has grown even deeper than it was when we first met. I'm working through it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, and that's crazy. Like, if I could jump into a time machine and told 27-year-old,
26-year-old
Joseph, that I would be interested to see my reaction.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because I'm a very,
you are a very black and white person.
I could be black and white.
You're black and white.
But I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I'm working through it.
Working through it because not only would it just affect us, it's not just us too that it affects. It's going to affect our child. It's going to affect our families. Like, it goes so deep. It's going to affect our friends. Like, it's our friends. Although you do have some friends that are just your exclusive, your friends and exclusive, my friends, but a lot of our friends are like our friends. So it's hard to think about, but we working through it. We working through it.
Yeah. So it's like you said, I mean, when it comes to the non-negotiables, for those of you who are listening, who are thinking about making that dive into taking the next step or going to the next level in your relationship, don't be too rigid. Don't be too specific. You want to lean on those core.
Have your core values.
Have your core values, but realize that over time, things are going to change.
Yeah.
Growth happens, life happens, situations come up. So you go into and
the person that you marry is not the person that you continue to be in a marriage with.
It's not. Very true.
It's not.
So I mean, are you willing to be flexible? Are you willing to fight?
That's a good word.
Are you willing to just grow and together
and compromise and you change? Are you willing to change some of your thoughts and your ways? Because it's not always pointing the finger at the other person that you're in a relationship with. It's also holding up that mirror and reflecting and looking at yourself.
Yes So I think we definitely.
I'm glad we could clear the air on that one. I'm glad we doubled back to the non-negotiables.
But I don't think you were shallow.
It was a look. To me, to me. Let me stand in it now. That's the whole point of this episode. Okay, next.
Who killed critical thinking? Now, I love this episode.
I didn't leave no leftovers on that one.
Listen,
that one we ate that one up. I'm sorry.
We may be having a little, maybe because didn't happen too long ago.
I don't know. That was just maybe so.
But I think it was very good that we had that episode, and it was right on time too. Like, my goodness, it was right on time. But really just forcing people to just think a little bit harder and be a little bit more self-aware too about yourself, because when you're self-aware and you are focusing on yourself, trying to make yourself a better person and grow and get better every single day, that's going to cause you to think about different situations a little bit more. When you're not self-aware and you're just living life and not really conscious of what you're doing, how you're acting, how you're behaving, then you're really not doing any thinking at all, and you're not really able to decipher, discern, use discernment when it's really required. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead, because I can run with it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk about something that kind of has transpired. So remember, like 2020, like Juneteenth. Like, it was Juneteenth, like people that didn't know about it, learned about it. Some of us already knew about Juneteenth. You can feel however you want to feel about Juneteenth. But I remember people saying, this needs to be like more commercialized, and like, people really need to like honor this. Or do you remember that conversation?
Yes.
And I don't know if we had the conversation on the couch with you all or if it was just us. Joe and I remember saying, they don't need to do that. That's not a good idea. This doesn't need to be commercialized. Lo and behold, 2022 is now in effect, and they're trying to like celebrate Juneteenth. Like, if you go in Dollar Tree, they have like a little Juneteenth section. Walmart tried to come out with that Juneteenth ice cream, and all the backlash. Feel how you want to feel about it, but critical thinking about it, I was like, this is just not smart because people aren't going to know how to receive it. And then people are like, oh, they better not try to have no Juneteenth sales and all of this. See, just leave it alone, because people aren't going to be happy. And sometimes you just need to reflect and think, how is this really going to work out? You think that you want this to be celebrated, but you really don't. You didn't take time to think about anything. You were jumping on bandwagons of what other people were saying instead of thinking, okay, let's just keep this as something sacred, as it should be, in my opinion. Keep this as something sacred, and we're going to celebrate it in the way that we choose to, instead of putting it, commercialize it. Because when you do, people can celebrate it any way they want to, because now it's for everybody. That's the problem. Sometimes it's okay to have your own celebration. People need to understand that. So that's the part of the critical thinking that we didn't get to talk about during the episode because it hadn't transpired. So I like to reflect on that. And it just felt so good when people were outraged about the whole Juneteenth situation, because I was like, there we go, y'all. Like, just sit back and think about things sometimes. And stop jumping on this popular bandwagon.
Man, you said it perfectly. Just sit back, take time to just breathe. Don't get too passionate or emotional over one thing. I know the media is great at manipulating our feelings and causing us to feel a certain way about things, because they're masters of that art form. But just do yourself a favor and just take a step back and just really think about certain things. Like, how should I process this? How should I feel about this? Let me get some different perspectives on certain things. But I will say that we're starting to, I'm seeing a lot of things, baby. I know.
I'm sorry. I should go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I know it sounds like I flip-flop, but you will be surprised about some of the things that I see, like information that people are starting to uncover and topics that people are starting to discuss. I'm like, yes, people are starting to think about things a little bit more critically.
I just think, you want to know the truth?
Okay, go ahead.
I just think it's because of some of the outlets that you are in. Some of your outlets, so that's why you think that. Because I'm the outlets that I'm in, it's not like that. So I feel like that's why you're seeing it a little bit more. That's just my
No, I mean, okay, I feel what you're saying. No, I definitely agree, because some of the things that the way the algorithm works when you're just online, period, is going to give you information that you kind of
lean towards.
But sometimes you just kind of, the people that you may follow or a channel you maybe subscribe to, and they've never thought about things that way or never mentioned that thing, and all of a sudden they are discussing those things. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, this
fair.
person is
That's
starting
fair.
to,
Okay.
yeah, more so. So just, I'm begging y'all because
on all bases.
Yes.
Not just things that are in media, but just how your normal interactions with people, like, use your critical thinking skills. We've been having the conversation about when people have been experiencing traumatic events in their lives, and how, like, hindsight is 20/20, you know that saying. So then, like, we see it, like, after the fact, they were acting in a different way. They didn't seem normal. Like, so we need to use our critical thinking skills. Like, when we start to notice something that's going on, like, okay, there's a red flag here, and take heed to those red flags in our everyday life, not just on things on social media. Like, when we're interacting with other people in our neighborhood or people that we're working with, like, use your critical thinking skills.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. But I'm optimistic about where we're going. I believe in people.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah. So the last episode that we did was with Curvin. Classic episode.
I love Curvin.
Curvin came with it.
Curvin came with the knowledge. He wasn't missing
the knowledge. And I love having conversations with Curvin. Because he's just so smart and knowledgeable, And at the same time, he's so passionate about
mental health.
And sidebar, to borrow your word, if you're someone struggling with mental health, if you're someone or you know someone who may need services, reach out. We attach Kervin's information to every episode that he has participated with us on. And even if it's not Kervin, just someone, it's so imperative, because you look around the country today, like, we have a mental health crisis. Yes, there are a lot of things that are going on. There are a lot of changes that probably could be made, but at the foundation of it all, the root of it all, stems from mental health.
Yeah.
And even the episode, why are we so obsessed with other people? I think the foundation of that is mental health.
Yeah.
I get disappointed. I don't know, disappointed is not, it's too strong of a word, because at the end of that I could care less. But
my mercy.
Because I got to focus on me and my family. But we just get so obsessed with the celebrity worship culture that exists. How we always hold other people to standards higher than we hold ourselves to.
And we need to stop.
Yes.
We need to stop.
Yes. And just the blatant inauthenticity that just is displayed by people. It's just not being truthful, not being honest. It has to turn around.
Yeah. And
you and Kervin, like, y'all kind of double team me on this episode, but
we did.
y'all came for me, man.
No, we didn't come for you, but you have, like, it's important if you have a different view from a person, like, we gotta say it, and we just weren't vibing with what you were saying.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. But the main point Kervin kept reiterating, it was self-esteem.
Yes.
And how you feel about yourself, man, that is so important.
And a lot, I agree, and that self-esteem, and a lot of times how you feel about yourself is exactly how you treat other people.
Wow.
It's exactly
Isn't that
how
amazing?
You treat other people. And if you use those critical thinking skills and see how people are treating you, when, like, people are real, like, just short or mean or snippy, like, you wouldn't even care. You'd be like, well, you know what, they got a lot more going on than I do, because you know, like, so yes, I agree with you about the self-esteem. And also when you're caught up, like, with social media and you're following what the other people are doing, remember, I was talking about the point during that episode, it kind of takes you from an escape from your reality and what's going on in your life. And I just want to reiterate that I do think social media can be that piece for you. And an obsession with other people, like, it's entertaining. You know what, I'm going to speak for myself. It's entertaining. Okay, I wasn't honest on that last podcast, but being obsessed or following other people or knowing other people's business, it's entertaining.
Why? Why is it entertaining?
Why is it entertaining? It's because, I can't explain it. It just is. It just is. Like, knowing other people's business. Like, why you say, oh, I'm worried about myself? No, because you like to know, people like to know things. You like to know the happiness of what's going on because it's entertaining. And you really do need to just be worried about yourself and what's going on in your lanes and be focused on what's happening in your life, because all that energy that you are focusing and putting into other people, you could be putting into your family, helping you to get to the goals and things that you have.
I think it's entertaining. I'm not dismissing what you're saying. I'm not giving you a hard time.
It's okay if you are.
I think it's entertaining because it's I don't want to say it's nice to know, but it's kind of a relief to know that someone else, whether it's good or bad, is going through something similar to what you've been through. But
what if what if I've never been through it before?
No, it's just like it's entertaining because it makes you feel
good about
normal.
It
makes you feel normal.
But sometimes when you're finding out things about people, it's something you've never gone through before, and it's entertaining to you.
I think it was entertaining. I don't like that. I don't think
that's the wrong word.
Yeah, that's the wrong word, because it's like you kind of root for them to.
But I'm telling you the truth though, Joe. Like I'm trying to be honest.
Okay, yeah.
In a reflection from that.
That's
podcast.
not you though. I don't think you found it entertaining. Listen, people are interesting. Look, Kanye West said it. There's nothing new in this world, however he phrased it, except for people. Like, everything has been done, everything has been said. The only thing new are people. So that's why people are so fascinating. And because no two people walking this earth are the same. Like, that is just amazing.
That's amazing.
We all had different experiences. Even if we have gone through the same exact thing, it's still not going to be viewed or felt the same because of, like, we're just different.
Right.
So people are just fascinating in general.
Fascinating.
Yes.
Fascinating.
Yes.
That's the word.
Yes, people are fascinating. So it's easy to start to be engulfed with people's lives and what they do. But Red Pill, he did a lecture on this, and the title of the lecture, which was just so profound, was the virus of vicariousness. And how dangerous it can be when you start living your life. What's the word? Like, I'm living vicariously through you.
Yeah.
How that's really not a good thing at all.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are doing that, whether it's with a celebrity or whether it's with a significant other or a family member. And you really don't have your own identity, which is a shame because you are unique.
Right.
You wouldn't be here if you weren't supposed to be here. So you really got to find who you are and really find your purpose, because your purpose may be the answer to a question that needs to be answered.
Yeah.
Your purpose could be that breakthrough that humanity may need. We don't know. So don't cheat yourself by being so obsessed with somebody else, because, like I said, you could be the answer to a lot of trauma, heartache, or anything, a big problem that needs to be solved.
And think about all the other people you holding up by not being your authentic self, or not putting value into what you are able to do and bring to the table. You got other people attached to that, but yet you can't even see it. So that, I agree, that's a good point, Joe. I like that.
And one of the things, before I wrap it up, I'll never forget this. My 10th grade, I can't remember the name of the course. It was like a history course. And it was like right after, and it's going to tie into like being so obsessed with people and being so obsessed with people, like having a hatred for a group of people. It was right after 9/11 happened. And she said the biggest tragedy of 9/11, of all the people that are being killed, that were killed, we don't know the potential that was lost. One of the people who may have been killed could have had the answer to how to cure cancer. I was like, golly, that was so profound.
That's good.
So when you are so obsessed with other people because your confidence, your self-esteem is so low, and you take it out on others in a negative way, like, you got to understand, like, man, what you're doing, the ripple effect it could be potentially be causing. So you really got to really heal and try to find out your purpose and why you're here, no matter what you've been through.
Yeah. It's good, Joe.
Man, we broke it down. Yeah, it's been a good season so far.
Yes, it's been a great season.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to the rest of season 3.
Looking forward to the rest of season 3. Great episodes lined up for you. Good break, much needed break. You made it through another school year.
Yes, that feels so good to be.
Round of applause to my wife completing her first full school year as principal.
Thank you, baby.
Did
That's
a great
so sweet.
job just seeing the growth.
Thank you.
Man, you've knocked it out of the park, and the year went by so fast.
It did.
Really,
It did.
It really
I agree.
did. So, just so proud of you.
Thank you, babe.
Keep growing.
I can't do it without you.
Yeah, you could.
No, I
But hey, 2 is better than 1. But with that being said, thank you all for the support. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and share on YouTube.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Thank you. Continue downloading our episodes on all the streaming platforms. We cannot express how much we appreciate the support. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much.
Until next time, you've listened to another monumental classic episode of the JoNessa Podcast,
Conversations from the Couch.
the #1 podcast out there. We'll see you next time.
Bye.